Hola, I'm Andrea, the person behind Munditos, and in this video I'm going to show you the sketchy texture brush set for Procreate. Come on, let's get to it. So now we're going to take a look at the sketchy texture brush set for Procreate. We're going to start with dot number 1. It's a very nice brush to get dots done. It helps with shading if we repeat dots on an area. It's great for surfaces as well, not only lines. And again, if we repeat shading, it's created with a lot of dots in one area. Very flexible brush. Dots too, it's better for areas. It's a more structured brush, not as free as the other one, but we can also do line work. Dash, also good for areas. It's a very delicate dash. Then we go to siding. If we increase the brush, the siding gets bigger, as you see. And this asset of every time we make the brush bigger, the texture is bigger, works with all the brushes. So that's a great attribute to it. We can change the rotation of the siding on the settings inside the brush. So any of the settings, if you want it vertical, horizontal, it can be changed inside the brush. Then we have a more simpler siding, which is just of line work. And again, we increase the size and the texture gets bigger. Then we go into the two woods brushes that we have in the set. One has a little more texture or line work than the other one. This one is a bit simpler. And then the other one is a little more knotty, so it has more line work than the other one. Then we have two shingles. Again, one is simpler than the other one, so you have options when you're doing textures. Depending on the illustration that you're doing, you can do simple texture or with a little more line work. So that's the simple one. And then this one is more for surfaces. It's more filling than the other one. Then we have two bricks, the same. We have one that is more line work, not as much details, just for fast illustrations where we want to have an extra texture. And then we have the second one that has more line work. In this case, we have the second line of the crowd. So it's more detailed for illustrations that need an extra touch. Then we have two grasses. This grass number 1 is like the dot number 1 that is a little more flexible. As you see, as we increase the size, the grass gets bigger. But as I said, like the dots number 1 is a good brush because we can do a line, we can do an area, and if we want to do shading, we can just increase the brush in that area and it gets darker, and it's a nice asset to have on a brush, that flexibility to have more texture in one stroke. And then grass number 2 is for areas. Not as flexible as the other one, but a very good looking brush. As you see, has a nice texture, sketchy. And then we have a metal texture for perforated metal. Then we have some flooring, for example, some herringbone. Again, we can change the size of this and it gets bigger or smaller. We have some tile, and then we have some stone. Concrete is also for surfaces. And then the last two brushes are random. You can use in different situations or uses. There are fillers. I have used them for backgrounds. They just give a nice touch on a sketchy look or illustration.
And that covers the Sketchy Textures brush set for Procreate. I hope you enjoy them and see you next time.